The introduction of body cameras has been a source of controversy for the Baltimore Police Department. Last year, we spoke to attorney Josh Inslee about footage he believes suggested police planted drugs on his client.
So they tear the car apart, and I mean literally. I mean, they're pulling out the radio, pulling apart the doors, looking under the seats, all that stuff. And after a while, they don't find what they're looking for. I know what the police position is, which is basically, it was a legit find. But I can only say what I see in the video, which is, it doesn't look good.
And it was one in a series of videos showing questionable police practices, and ultimately led to charges of mishandling evidence against an officer seen in this footage. Which brings us here to the Baltimore State's Attorney Evidence Review Unit. In offices on the third floor of the Mitchell Courthouse, nearly half a dozen Assistant State's Attorneys, or ASAs, watch thousands of hours of footage weekly. Not just to hold police accountable, but to check evidence and prepare cases for trial. The Real News was offered an exclusive glimpse inside the operation, a chance to show the public how it works and what they see every day, and how it might impact law enforcement in the city.
Our main objective is to review and disperse to the ASAs all body-worn camera footage from the Baltimore Police Department that is involved with an arrest or a must-appear court citation. Since the program started, we've received over 139,000 videos. We divide them up every day amongst the clerks and the ASAs that are here. And each individual could get anywhere from 6 to 10 hours per day.
Sometimes even more, depending on how many videos are in the case and what type of case it is. When I review videos, I will tag or add markers on the video when they arrest the defendant or when they search the person, if there is a substantive statement made by the defendant, the victim, or the witness. Also, if there's a substantive statement made by the police officer regarding probable cause or the recovery of evidence. We also tag when evidence is recovered.
We're probably, since the program started, at about 24,000 cases. Our first objective is to get the films to the ASA. And one of the challenges we have, and I would say, fair to say the Baltimore Police have, is making sure we get all the videos. So the procedure is the officers are supposed to mark every time they have a film in one of those categories, an arrest or must appear, with the court case number, with the what we call a CC number. Unfortunately, sometimes they forget. The process for getting tickets marked correctly has just started, probably in the fall. So for some officers, again, it's muscle memory, remembering to do it. When we see a variety of things, and let's say it could be if we notice something in the video that we think might be of interest or of issue, we put notes on the video. There is a way in the software to put notes. We also have a case management system where we could put in notes, and we also will reach out directly in some cases to the ASA or their unit chief just to say, hey, this is something we saw, just to let you know. It's always their decision. We don't make those decisions.
10 years ago, all we had to rely on was a statement of probable cause. Now we have the video showing all of the circumstances surrounding the incident, and it really gives you a different point of view as to what happened instead of relying on the written statement by the officer.
We look for anything that we see that could either be a concern with the case, and it could be something involving the police. And so we have various mechanisms within the organization of who we would report that up to.
The most interesting perspective is the sociological standpoint, because Baltimore is unique in that it's very diverse in terms of, the sociological makeup of it. So you're seeing people from all types of different backgrounds and communities, and it's very eye-opening. And one of the hardest things for me to watch is cases involving small children that are in situations of poverty, and seeing the associated impact of poverty on that child. It can be very hard to watch, but it's also very eye-opening. as well. You see everything, you know, the living conditions of, you know, some families may not be ideal, and that impact that it has on the kid is substantial. Not only, you know, regarding their education and their situation, which is at no fault of their own, but also it has a neurological impact on the child as well. The officer's video that you just saw and this officer's video, these were the first two to respond to the incident. And this is going to show you how the incident transpired, starting with they're in the car and they get the information or see the defendant, and then he runs. And it will show the foot chase, it will show the search, and any statements that the defendant makes.
Cottage downhill. We're gonna be on the south side of the cottage. What? Alright. Yeah, you guys yeah, we're good. We just need somebody to slow it down. I don't know nobody get hurt.
What you just heard was the officer calling for backup for purposes of officer safety.
I got it! I got it!
He actually takes off his camera to make sure that he documents exactly where he saw or recovered the handgun.
This boy's not here. I got a glove, I got a glove. Another glove? Yeah. Alright, so, 655. Put that weapon in again. Stand by. Yeah, you guys know about the other words? Got it. Tell them.
So he actually lost his shoe during the foot chase when he ran from the police, and so he asked another officer who's in the other video. I will show you next, but he asked another officer if they could recover his shoe for him. And this is just a great example of, okay, this person did something wrong and police handled it, but it's also showing, you know, something good that the police have done too. They're gonna go recover his shoe. It's like, it's a slice of human life. It's humanity. So these are always interesting cases to see.
So he's getting the shoe right now?
Yes.
He's lucky I'm a nice guy.
Well, there's a couple layers to it as to us getting, first of all, this is a lot of data and a lot of information. So we're often getting it at the last minute, literally the day before trial, in an email. And that means we then have to open body camera footage, we have to view it. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it goes hours into an arrest. It varies from case to case. So there's the process of downloading it, which we can't always handle. And we've also been discovering that it's not just a public defender issue. Private attorneys are having the same downloading issues. And these are things that are normally, they're discovery. It's evidence that the state's supposed to give over. And they were things before that were normally given to us, like if it was a security camera footage, just on a disc for us ready to play. But now that it's through this online service, a network, it's sent electronically, literally in email format. So it's the download process, copying it, and then if we want to use it, we have to put it in a format that's easily portable to court.
What about the hearing process, you were saying?
The hearing process comes into play because you have all of this footage of various people, various statements that are going on in the chaotic scene of an arrest. You may have statements made by a defendant that are taken illegally if there's not a Miranda warning given, or from outside parties that aren't coming in to testify in court, or officers that aren't being called to testify during a case. And those statements would normally be considered hearsay because no one can ask anybody any follow-up questions as to who's saying what on the tape. And those statements could be accusatory of our client. Sometimes they may point out something that an officer is trying to maybe spin in a better light that isn't true, but then you can't bring it out properly. Sometimes they're statements that are going to be used against our client, and then the state wants to use it without having actual witnesses.